Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week of our Cybersecurity Executive Brief. I am Cory Wolff, Director of Offensive Security at Risk 360. And as you can tell by the technical difficulties, we were off last week. We are back this week. I hope you all enjoyed the holiday last Wednesday. Sorry we couldn't be here with you, but we do have a lot to catch up on. Most importantly, well, I would say the most interesting is that you have to use Zelle to buy and sell cars today because of the CDK cyber attack. So CDK had an issue on June 19th, 2 a.m. For those of you that don't know, CDK is a services firm for car dealerships in the auto industry. So these are platforms that, this is a platform that handles basically everything for a car dealership. So when you need to register a car, when you get your title, you need to get your tags, the financing behind it. I mean, there's literally a dealership in a box that handles everything. And this is what CDK provides to these car dealers throughout the country. They have approximately 15,000 dealerships that utilize their service. And early on June 19th, about 2 a.m. Eastern, they shut down. They had shut everything down because of what they referred to as a cyber incident. So we later come to find out that this was indeed a ransomware incident. And so they shut down everything because they were having a bad time. And dealerships are affected. They are doing things manually right now. CDK has said that they will have things back up and running within a month. Was the last that we heard. Some of my fellow coworkers at Risk 360 traded in a car over the weekend and had to receive payment. The dealership had to send payment through Zelle because they couldn't cut checks because CDK was down. This was executed by the Black Suit ransomware crew, which is a relatively inactive crew. I mean, they're active, but they're not as active as, say, a Lockbit or something like that. And this was carried out by Black Suit. So this is big on the news this week. One thing I want to call out is that their infrastructure is probably from 2008. It's in here somewhere. Where is it? Something about, oh, here we go. So the always-on VPN to pivot to the internal network of car dealerships. So the way that CDK has their infrastructure set up is that all the dealerships have a site-to-site VPN into the CDK data center, which means that if you're able to get into that data center, you are able to get into all of the different car dealerships. So this is turning out to be a pretty big one, really big incident affecting over 15,000 car dealerships throughout the U.S. I have some friends that work at dealerships, and they said that pretty much everything's down. They have to do things manually, yeah, I mean, this is old infrastructure, it appears. I mean, I don't know why nowadays a SaaS provider would be using a site-to-site VPN to directly connect into their colo or their data center. But this is big news this week. Ransomware, of course, a lot of the big incidents that we've talked about over the past few months. Change Healthcare, ransomware. Ascension, ransomware. CDK, ransomware. So pretty active ransomware crews. It's a huge industry. Some estimates have it being over or close to and hitting $1 billion in ransomware payments in 2024. I don't know if that's going to happen, but a lot of people throughout the industry think that it will actually hit that number to where $1 billion of ransomware payments are made in 2024. So CDK, if you haven't heard about it, I suggest you read up on it. Car dealerships are struggling right now to continue operations because of this attack. So it's a bad one. The other thing we want to talk about today is Kaspersky. So they have, or they will be, officially banned in the U.S. So President Biden is banning U.S. sales of Kaspersky software. They are a Russian-based organization, if you're not familiar. On last week, they did announce the plans to bar the sale of the antivirus software. So for those of you that don't know, Kaspersky is actually used throughout U.S. federal agencies. So not all of them, but some of them do employ Kaspersky. And so, this not only being something for national security, I suppose, it's a serious issue because the software is on not just federal machines, but who knows how many consumer machines. So the president has taken the action to ban the sale of Kaspersky products in the U.S., which is continuing many Russian sanctions that I'm sure we're all familiar with. But this is kind of big news. This is you don't see this too often, right? You just don't. So wanted to call that out. The other thing is that we spent a lot of time on over the past month or so was Windows recall. And so as a quick refresher, Windows recall is a feature in Windows Copilot Plus PCs that allows, it takes a screenshot every 5 seconds. It takes those screenshots, puts them into a machine learning algorithm that is processed on the device, to be fair. And this allows you to basically say, hey, what was that website that I was looking at that had basketballs on it? What was that website that I was looking at that had, the NHL draft picks, right? It's recording everything that you're doing on your PC so that you could use AI to search and remember things, recall things. Huge number of security vulnerabilities and privacy issues in recall. And Microsoft received a lot of backlash about that. And so they are now recalling recall. Originally, it was going to be out by default on Copilot Plus PCs. However, they have backtracked and said that it will now only be available in preview, so Windows Preview. And then they did it again. They made another update. Recall will now shift from a preview experience. So initially, it was going to be basically in production, and any Copilot Plus PC that came out, recall would be enabled. Then they said it's going to Windows Insider. And now they're saying, that it was going to go to a Windows 11 preview. And now they're saying that it's only going to be in Windows Insider program. So they've stepped back quite a bit. Windows recall, they've gotten a lot of backlash, and rightfully so. So they are now no longer shipping that AI that records everything you do on your computer by default. So I guess that's a win for the privacy folks, right? Lastly, you might have seen that the Federal Reserve, so-called, was so-called in a cybersecurity incident. So the Lockbit ransomware crew announced that they had compromised the Federal Reserve. And we're going to release data, I believe they said 33 terabytes of information on Americans' banking and all their different information, related financial information. So there's a lot going on between Lockbit and the U.S. government right now. Lockbit was shut down in February by a joint task force between the U.S., the U.K., and Eurojust. Of course, they didn't take too kindly to that. There's been a lot of back and forth. The U.S. government released the leader of Lockbit, Lockbit Sup's information, his name, where he lives, what he likes to do, basically everything that they have on him. They released it to the public. He didn't like that too much, and so now he's saying that Lockbit has gained access to the Federal Reserve. They've been known to make outrageous statements before. I believe that this is another one of those outrageous statements. They're just a little upset about everything that the U.S. government and them have been going back and forth with. They promised to release the data on June 25, which was yesterday. What they ended up releasing was information from a banking as a service provider known as Evolve Bank and Trust. So The data still hasn't actually been verified, but it does appear as though the data is from this bank, Evolve Bank and Trust. Interestingly enough, they just recently got a cease and desist from the Federal Reserve Board due to various risk management issues and consumer protection issues. But at the end of the day, Lockbit has not, at least as of today, has not compromised the Federal Reserve. They have, it appears, compromised a banking as a service provider known as Evolve Bank and Trust. So that's that. Lockbit and the U.S. government have been going back and forth. There's a lot of drama between both of them, and this is just another iteration of that. One other thing as well, I hope you've been keeping up with the Snowflake incident. There was a big Snowflake, not Snowflake proper, but threat actors have compromised many Snowflake instances. We talked about this in detail about 2 weeks ago. In fact, at Risk 360, we released a threat advisory providing more information on that Snowflake incident. So if you haven't received that or you need more information on that, please let us know. Be happy to get that to you. At the end of the day, it is not an inherent vulnerability in Snowflake, but it is rather compromised credentials and improperly configured Snowflake environments. So check that out. Also, what you should check out is we do have a we do have a penetration testing ROI calculator. If that's something that you think would help you out, it's something that clients and colleagues of ours use all the time to kind of sell, more advanced penetration testing upstairs. There is a link in the description for that as well. That's been super helpful to our clients and colleagues. I hope this was helpful. Again, I hope you have a great rest of your week, an excellent weekend, and we'll see you here next Wednesday. See you soon.